بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. We have been studying conditions of validity of i'tikaf. The first one was fasting. If you want to do i'tikaf without fasting, it's not possible. The second condition is that there needs to be certain number of days that you fast, al-adad. And we quoted hadith of Abu Basir from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, which is authentic. لا يكون الاعتكاف أقل من ثلاثة أيام. And there are other hadiths similar to this which says that there would be no i'tikaf lower than 3 days. And then we said that there is ijma that if someone wants to do i'tikaf less than 3 days, it's not valid, it doesn't count. But what about more than 3 days? So less than 3 days, there is no discussion, no debate. But what about, for example, 3 days and half a day, 3 days and few hours extra, or 4 days, 5 days, etc. هل يصح أكثر من ذلك? Is it possible to have more than 3 days? كساعة, for example, says that 1 hour from the 4th day. Also, after that, I leave mosque, for example. أو نصف يوم, I leave after Zuhr prayer or Adhan, midday Adhan. أو غير ذلك. Sheikh Irwani says, نعم, yes. وقد يستدل له. We reached here, so as a preparation, I explained the first 2 lines, or like a few lines, hadith and this alayhi, and we reached here. أولا بإطلاق أدلة المشروعية. The references that we have to say that i'tikaf is shar'i, is mashru'. Mashru' means legitimate, but here means that it is religiously valid, because we cannot do ibadah without having a religious foundation. I cannot say I introduce or invent a special salat, a special i'tikaf. It has to be mashru', means it has to be religiously received and verified. خب, those dalil, those references that we have for legitimacy of i'tikaf are mutlaq. They are not restricted to 3 days. This is the first argument. But this argument is not very good. Why? Because as we said before for previous discussions, we don't have such itlaq. وفيه ما تقدم من عدم وجود ما يمكن التمسك بإطلاقه. We don't have any text, because itlaq must be dalil lafzi. For dalil lubbi, we go for qadr mutayaqan. For dalil lafzi, we can go for zahir, we can go, for example, asalatul umum, asalatul itlaq, etc. for zahir. So here we don't have any text that we can argue from its itlaq. So we go to the second argument. صحيحة أبي عبيدة المتقدمة. Sahih of Abu Ubaidah that we mentioned before from Imam Baqir alayhi salam. من اعتكف 3 أيام فهو يوم الرابع بالخيار. Whoever fasts and does all the requirements for i'tikaf for 3 days. On the 4th day, he has khayar, he has option, choice. Khayar means choice. إن شاء زاد ثلاثة أيام أخر. If he wants to continue, he can add 3 more days. So 3 and then 6. وإن شاء خرج من المسجد. If he doesn't want to add 3 more days, he can leave masjid. فإن أقام يومين بعد الثلاثة. But if he decides to remain in masjid, and after 2 days he is thinking whether I should go outside or leave stay in masjid, etc., we say you had the choice at the beginning. Can you hear me? Do you have my?
Yes, Sheikh.
Yes, Sheikh.
Okay, because I heard something. I heard the voice. Okay, thank you. So at the beginning you had choice, but when you decide to do 3 extra days, then you have to complete. Okay, so إن شاء زاد ثلاثة أيام أخر وإن شاء خرج من المسجد. If he wants, adds 3 more days or goes out of the masjid if he doesn't want to do more. But فإن أقام يومين بعد الثلاثة. But if he stays 2 more days, day 4, day 5, فلا يخرج من المسجد حتى يتم ثلاثة أيام أخرى. Then he cannot leave masjid unless he finishes the second 3 days. Means the 6th day he has to stay in masjid. So it's a cycle of 3 according to this hadith. بتقريب أن المفهوم من ذيلها جواز الخروج في اليوم الرابع أو بعد الليلة الرابعة ولازمه جواز نیت ذلك من البداية. خب, the way they articulate the argument is this, that from mafhum means from the implicit meaning. Mantuq is what is spoken. What is spoken is that after 2 days you cannot leave. So what about before 2 days, for example? So he says from the ending, zayl means the ending, implicitly can be understood that it is permissible to go out on the 4th day. You don't need to stay on the 4th day. Or after some of the 4th night, means the night between 3rd day and 4th day. The night between the 3rd day and the 4th day is the night for the 4th, because night is before. In lunar calendar, the day actually, 24 hours, starts with Maghrib. When does Tuesday start? When sun sets on Monday, then Tuesday night starts. Then we have Tuesday day. Okay, Laylatul Jumu'ah, the same, because it's based on moon, and therefore night is more important because moon is for the night. Okay. وَلَازِمُهُ. When we say it is possible to leave masjid after, for example, part of the 4th night or during the 4th day, it means that it's possible to have such intention from beginning. What does it mean? It means that from beginning you can say, I want to, for example, do i'tikaf for 3.5 days, or I want to do i'tikaf even after 3 days for part of the 4th night. لازمه جواز نیت ذلك من البداية. From beginning you say, I want to leave on the fourth day, for example, or middle of the fourth night. بأن ينوي من البداية الاعتكاف لفترة ثلاثة plus, for example, ثلاثة والنصف, 3 روز, as we say in Farsi, و نصف روز, or 3 days and half a day. Okay. Is this good argument? Say no. Why? When you can break an ibadah which is mustahab, it's not necessarily implying that you could do this ibadah from beginning for this niyyah. For example, nafile is normally 2 rak'ah. Nawafil are 2 rak'ah, 2 rak'ah. Of course, we have 1 rak'ah also, but normally they are 2 rak'ah. If you start your nafila and after, for example, 1 rak'ah, something happens and you want to break, you can break your nafila. You cannot break wajibs. Farida you cannot break, but nafila you can break. After 1 rak'ah you break nafila. Does it mean then from beginning you could say, I do nafila for 1 rak'ah? For example, nafilatul fajr, you could maybe face a problem. Even if it is not necessary problem, for some reason, you decide after 1 rak'ah to break. It's possible. But from beginning, you cannot say, I do 1 rak'ah nafilatul fajr. We don't have such a thing, 1 rak'ah nafilatul fajr, we don't have. So here the same. If it is said that you can leave masjid on the 4th day, it doesn't mean that we have such a kind of i'tikaf which is for 4 days. At least this doesn't show that. If you want to say i'tikaf can be for extra day, bring some other evidence, not this one. وأجيب بمنع الملازمة. They say we don't accept this mulazamah. That if it is permissible to leave, it means that from beginning it was legitimate to make niyyah for just this extra, 1 day extra. فإن جواز رفع اليد بقاءً لا يستلزم مشروعية ذلك حدوثًا. If in the continuity you can leave, raf'ul yad means you can leave it. It doesn't mean that from beginning you could say that this is religiously valid. So that then you can make niyyah, I want to make nafila for nafilatul fajr for 1 rak'ah. No, you cannot. Yes, if you start nafila 2 rak'ah, in the middle you face problem, you can break it. Here also i'tikaf the same. لا يستلزم مشروعية ذلك حدوثًا كي تسوغ نيته ساغ يسوغ means to be suitable. كذلك من أول الأمر. فالنافلة, we bring an example. يجوز قطعها بعد الاتيان بركعة. After 1 rak'ah, something happens. Before also 1 rak'ah, but mean that even after 1 rak'ah, you can break it. لكن لا تجوز نيتها من البداية. From the beginning, you cannot say, I do nafila 1 rak'ah, nafilatul fajr is 2 rak'ah. Then Sheikh Irwani wants to answer this reply, this criticism. ويرده أولا أن الحكم المذكور في النافلة هو باعتبار أن ذلك مقتضى الجمع بين ما دل على أن النافلة ركعتان لا أقل وما دل على جواز القطع في الأثناء. He says in nafila we have different situation. in nafila, we have dalil that nawafil are normally 2 rak'ah. Normally, Salatul Watr is 1 rak'ah, but normally it's 2 rak'ah. And then on the other hand, we have dalil that you can break, you can do cut Salat al-Nafila. So when we say it is 2 and always in 2, and you can break it, then it means that you must make niyyah from beginning for 2 rak'ah, but later you can change and stop. But in i'tikaf, we don't have that initial requirement. Nawafil, we have that initial requirement that it must be 2. Here we don't have that, it must be 3 and 6. بخلاف المقام. In our case, in i'tikaf, فإنه لا يوجد مثل الدليلين المذكورة. We don't have such dalil here that i'tikaf has to be 3, but if you start another 3, you can stop in the middle. وثانيا أن المدعى ليس هو الملازمة بين البقاء والابتداء ليرد بمنعه وإنما المدعى أن ظاهر الرواية تخيير المعتكف كذلك من دون خصوصية للبقاء. Secondly, we don't want to claim, our claim is not that there is a correlation between baqa wal ibtida. Means if something has to continue from the beginning, it is possible. So that you say, no, there is problem. In nafila, in the middle you can stop, but in the beginning you cannot make niyyah of just 1. What we claim here is that mu'takif has choice, has khayar, whether he wants to stay or not. He has ikhtiyar, he can do more than 3 days. The other argument which is mentioned is referring to the sunnah of the Prophet, ما دل على أن النبي صلى الله عليه وآله كان يعتكف في العشر الأواخر من شهر رمضان. It's very famous that Rasulullah, the last 10 days of the month of Ramadan, was staying in masjid, not going home even for sleeping. كصحيحة الحلبي عن أبي عبد الله عليه السلام كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله إذا كان العشر الأواخر اعتكف في المسجد وضربت له قبة من شعر وشمر المئزر وطوى فراشه. When it was the last 10 days of the months of Ramadan, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to remain in masjid, and they were making like a tent from sha'r, from, for example, wool or hair of the goat, for example, or camel for him, so that he has his privacy. And he was tying up or folding his me'dhar. Me'dhar is like something like towel, like we have like the rest of ihram. Basically, he was in a condition of someone who is not going to sleep. Watawa firashahu says, he was wrapping and closing his, for example, mattress or blanket, something which was sleeping at home. For 10 days he was not going home and not using that and remaining in masjid. How can we argue from this hadith بتقريب أن ظاهرها اعتكافه صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم تمام العشر. What we can understand is that all these 10 nights of the, or 10 days of the last part of Ramadan were included in the etikaf. Not that for 3 days he was doing etikaf and extra than that was not etikaf, he was just staying in masjid. It seems that when we say إذا كان العشر الأواخر اعتكف في المسجد, so etikaf is for 10 days. Yes, from this we cannot understand that you can do etikaf of half a day extra. 10 days means complete days. So it doesn't have to be 3, 6, 9, 12. It can be 10 as well. But extra day must be completed. نعم هي مختصة بزيادة يوم كامل. 1 complete day, 2 complete days, 3 complete days, not half a day. فإذا ضم إليه عدم احتمال الفرق بين ضم يوم وضم بعضه عرفا ثبت المطلوب. If you can say that according to the urf, according to common sense, if you can do extra, it doesn't make difference. It is complete day or half a day, part of a day. If you can be sure that urf doesn't distinguish, okay, you can say that this hadith indicates that even if it is half a day extra, is okay. But for people who can be sure. 4. إن تحديد الروايات لأقل الاعتكاف دون الأكثر. Our hadith says we cannot have it less than 3 days. Why our hadith don't specify the duration? Why they don't say don't do it more than 3 days? They leave it open. يدل على أنه لا حد لأكثره. There is no limit for the maximum side. 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 10 days. إذ لا معنى لتحديده من أحد الجانبين دون الآخر. If there was limit, then the limit for end of it should be mentioned as limit for the beginning is mentioned. How we say etikaf cannot begin unless at least you have 3 days to do etikaf. Okay, tell also how many days can be there at maximum. After this, there is another question. Are the nights also included in etikaf or only days that you can fast? So basically, are you doing etikaf only during the days when you are fasting, or you are doing etikaf in the nights as well? هل الليالي داخلة ضمن فترة الاعتكاف? Are the nights included in this period of etikaf, or you only doing etikaf during the day? We say yes. The nights are also included, but the nights in between. Because if, for example, you have 3 days, okay, so first day, second day, third day. The night before the first and second, which is the night of the second, and the night before third, between third and second, is the night of the third. These 2 nights occur inside. But the night of the first, the night for the fourth, these are not inside. So they are not part of etikaf. نعم المتوسطتان يعني ليلتان المتوسطتان for the second night and the third night. خلافا للمنسوب إلى الشيخ في مسألة من نذر الاعتكاف 3 أيام دون الأولى والأخيرة. Unlike the opinion of Sheikh Tusi Rizwanullah Ta'ala alayh, we say yes, the 2 nights which are in between, they are included. Not the very first night, not the night of the fourth one, the night of second and the third night. أما دخول المتوسطتين the night of the second, which is between day of the first and the day of the second. We have night of second. And the night of the third, which is between the day of the second and the day of the third. Okay, these two are included. فقد يوجه بأن أدلة المانع من خروج المعتكف من المسجد وأدلة المانع من الجماع وغيرها مطلقة لم تقيد بالنهار. The dalil, the reference that we have, it says someone who is doing itikaf must not go outside masjid unless there is emergency, and should not do, certain things like relation with a spouse, marital relation. So these adillah are not specific, mutlaqa. They don't say don't go outside masjid during the day. In the night you can go outside even if there is no emergency. No. Throughout the itikaf you should not go out. Includes the night in between. But the night before, no. If you are there before Fajr, is enough. You don't need to spend night the first night. Also after Maghrib of the third day you can leave. You don't need to be there for the night of the fourth. لم تقيد بالنهار مما يدل بالالتزام على دخول الليل في الاعتكاف. So we don't have any reason to say that the first night and the fourth night you have to stay there as اعتكاف. وفيه أن التمسك بالإطلاق مشكل. Sheikh Ibn says to appeal to إطلاق is difficult. Why? لأن موضوع الأدلة المشار إليها هو المعتكف الذي قد لا يسلم بصدقه على يسلم is possible, but يسلم is better. بصدقه على من لبث في الليل. He says what we have in the references is that you have to be mu'takif. The subject matter is mu'takif. Do you accept taslim? Salamna means we accept. Is urf accepting? Does urf do taslim? Says that salamna. That mu'takif can be true. Sidqihi alamis can be applied to this, can be true about someone that is there in the night. If someone, for example, is in the first night there, can we say he's doing itikaf? He's not doing itikaf. نعم لا بأس بالتمسك بالصريح ما دل على حرمة اتيان المعتكف أهله نهرا ليلة. Yes, we have a specific dalil reference to say that marital relation during the day and night is prohibited. For this we have a special reason which specifies day and night are both the same. You cannot have marital relation during the day or during the night. But maybe someone says this is only for marital relation. Maybe for other things we cannot extend this. لكنه لا ينفع وحده. This ما دل على حرمة اتيان المعتكف أهله ليلا ونهارا by itself, when it's alone, would not benefit. ما لم تضم إليه الروايات أخرى. As long as other hadiths are not added. Which hadith? Other hadiths that say that other asar, other effects also come. Not about just marital relation. إذ ترتيب أثر واحد لا يمكن من خلاله استكشاف دخول الليل في الاعتكاف. If it is just one asar, one effect, which is حرمة marital relation. From this you cannot understand that i'tikaf has started, because one ruling of i'tikaf is there. You cannot say so it is part of i'tikaf. لا يمكن من خلال يعني من ترتیب أثر واحد استكشاف دخول الليل في الاعتكاف. We cannot discover that i'tikaf is included in i'tikaf. Sorry, night is included in i'tikaf. Staying masjid in the night is included in i'tikaf. الأجدر التمسك بالفهم العرفي. It's better to go to the common sense among متشرعه. When we say go somewhere and stay 3 days, what do they understand? Do they understand 3 days only when there is bright day, for example, from sunrise till Maghrib? Or when we say stay somewhere or go to a city for 3 days, it means days with the nights in between. It seems that the Urf says 3 days means day and night, at least the nights in between. التمسك بالفهم العرفي بتقريب أنه حينما يقال لشخص عليك أن تبقى في هذا المكان 3 أيام مثلا، فإن العرف يفهم أن المقصود باللياليها المتوسطة means 3 days 3 أيام مع لياليها المتوسطة يعني the night in between. ومن هنا فهم الفقهاء من عشرة الإقامة. When we say that if you are musafir, if you want to have salat complete, if you want to fast, make niyyah of staying for 10 days. These 10 days means 10 nights and 10 days, or it just means 10 days and nights in between. من هنا فهم الفقهاء من عشرة الإقامة العشرة باللياليها. They have understood that these 10 days but with the nights in between. Or for example, haze. If they say someone in period for 3 days is the minimum. If blood stops before 3 days, it's not haze, because haze is the minimum of 3 days. This is 3 days and 3 nights, or 3 days and nights in between, or just 3 days and nights aslan are not included. So if in the day, for example, there was blood but the night was not there, for example, is not included. Basically, what does Urf understand? So he says, إن العرف يفهم أن المقصود باللياليها المتوسطة. Urf understand from 3 days that it's nights which are in between also are included. Means the night of the second and the night of the third. ومن هنا فهم الفقهاء من عشرة الإقامة العشرة باللياليها. Or ثلاثة الحيض, they said haze is 3 days. The minimum means الثلاثة باللياليها, with the nights. أما خروج الأولى والأخيرة. We said the nights in middle are included. What about the first night? Fajr is, for example, 5 a.m. When should you be in masjid for i'tikaf? Before Fajr. You don't need to be there before Maghrib, because the first night is not included. And also on the third day after Maghrib you leave masjid. You don't need to stay till Fajr. Okay? Because when we say 3 days, Thalathat Ayyam, so if when sun is there, you are there, it's just day. So Nahar is the same here and day. وإنما دخلت المتوسطتان للنكتة المتقدمة. We said day means when sun is there, but why we included the 2 nights in between? Because of the point that we mentioned before, that Urf understands like this. You cannot separate it. When you say states number 3 days, it means this. وَإِلَّا كَانَ الْمُنَاسِبْ خُرُوجُهُمَا أَيْضًا. If we didn't have such a reason, we could say that only during the days be in masjid, and in the night you can leave. وَبِهِ يَتَّزِهُ ضَعْفُ مَا نُسِبَ إِلَى الْعَلَّامَةِ وَالشَّهِيدِ بِالنِّسْبَةِ إِلَى اللَّيْلَةِ الْأُولَى. From this we understand that what has been attributed to Allama and Shahid Awwal, that they say the first night also Mu'takif has to be there, this is Za'if. Or it has been attributed to some of our ulama, like here it quotes from Jawahir and Madarik, that the last night, means the night of the 4th, also is included. But this is Za'if. So 3 days and 2 nights in between is the minimum. Okay, the next thing is that i'tikaf should be in masjid, not at home, not in a place which is community center, etc. Must be a place that it has been dedicated to be masjid. Inshallah, we continue this, bismillah, next week. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin.